Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. And that's one of those interesting rhymes that nobody really believes, because words can hurt. And from the beginning, they do.
I always knew that there was something different about me. And now when I look back on my childhood, I can see the things.
I remember looking into my mother's magazines and finding the women really beautiful, and I would cut them out and hide them away in my favorite book.
I had like a Barbie doll in my desk, and these like kids are just like sneaking up behind me, and I was sitting in mine, and I was like, oh my god, here's my Barbie. And they just all started laughing, and I was like, oh my god, I feel so embarrassed.
All the kids started picking up that I wasn't like them. I wasn't running around bragging about, I don't know, Tonka trucks or something like that. But I was braiding all the girls' hair, 'cause the girls were always fond of me, but I wasn't fond of them in the same way. I thought it was more that I wanted to be them.
Heterosexual. A person who is physically and emotionally attracted to someone of the opposite gender.
Homosexual. A person who is physically and emotionally attracted to someone of the same gender.
Bisexual. A person who is physically and emotionally attracted to both genders.
So, all the kids in the area, they picked up on me really quick. They'd follow me home, they'd throw things at me, everything, and it's really hard to deal with. It was really hard for me.
I've been called
Gay,
homo,
queer,
faggot,
les,
fairy,
dyke,
homo, queer, faggot, fairy,
dyke, there's so many out there.
Nazi homophobe. That was me when I was 13. Yeah, I remember having a great deal of hatred for gays when I was 13. I don't even know why. I remember back then being able to hate very easily.
I guess it was a matter of survival, becoming assimilated and in order to fit in.
People explain to me, oh, those are just fags over there and stuff like that, And I was like, oh yeah. And I was just going along with them because I didn't want like people to think different of me and stuff like that.
I was very afraid, and in that space where all these negative things kept repeating in my head about what a freak I was or how different I was.
Gays were portrayed to me as perverts and pedophiles, and women who were brutes and guys who were diseased, and I just didn't want to identify with that.
Homophobia. A fear or hatred of homosexuality, often exhibited by discrimination and harassment.
Gonna start. Does anyone know what the word homophobia means? Just throw it out there. TEACH is an acronym for Teens Educating and Confronting Homophobia. Afraid of gay guys. Okay. So the phobia then. It's the fear, right? So we've got fear. Just some names and stereotypes associated with gay, lesbian, bisexual people.
Faggot.
Thank you.
Fruit boy.
We talk about the names that we associate with gay people and the stereotypes, and we like to debunk those myths, to talk about those words, because if it didn't matter, then they wouldn't be out there. They wouldn't be written on the desks, and they wouldn't be written on the lockers. And it's amazing what one word can do.
When you see a man that's gay, a lot of people will automatically assume that he's like a pedophile or something like that. You know what I mean?
Another one on here.
That's why people have so much hate towards these gay people.
Now that's an interesting one. 90 to 98% of pedophiles are straight men. So that's another one as well. We like to debunk the myths as we're going along. So when you hear things over and over again, even if they're not directly aimed at you, that's how you start to think about society. And that's how you start to think about your fellow schoolmates or roommates or whoever, is by the words that they use.
I couldn't concentrate in school anymore. My grades slipped dramatically.
I had no energy. I didn't want to do anything. I hermited in my room all day when I wasn't at school. I didn't have a lot of friends.
I thought it was something I just had to deal with, and maybe I could just pretend it wasn't there. Maybe I could just hide it away in a box, my inner box where I hide everything.
I was in complete denial, I think, about where I came from and who I was.
I knew that I had this big secret that had to be lifted off my shoulders. And that probably was the hardest thing, was being able to just express it how I could.
I think maybe if I had someone to talk to, then it wouldn't have been as bad as it was, but I didn't, so it was like a lot of suppressed everything, like anger and depression and that sort of thing.
I had to repress all these feelings, and I had no one to talk to. I just remember feeling alone in the world, absolutely alone. There was no one on TV, there was no one in the radio, there was no one at home. My friends didn't understand it. My friends would ask me questions that I couldn't answer. It was very frustrating.
You almost feel like you're like a lamb tied to a stake, almost, when you're like young and gay and alone. It's like a lamb tied to a stake.
The simple fact is sometimes names do hurt because you realize the meanings behind different words. People say them to you and you can't help but be hurt by them sometimes.
The worst word for me, a derogatory word, I guess, would be faggot.
I think when I hear bad words, I think that one triggers most of my emotions around being tortured in school.
People throw around words they don't know all the time. Words they've heard, they sort of think they know the meaning. And that's an important thing, is for people to realize what they're saying, the impact of what they're saying.
Faggot, Old French, fagot. A bundle of wood, sticks, or twigs used for fuel. Slang, a male homosexual.
In the 13th century, and lasting for over 400 years, the Inquisition traveled throughout Europe in search of heretics. And who were the heretics? Anyone who was unusual, eccentric, pagan, anyone who was considered to be different.
Witch burnings were common, but the witches were innocent women, midwives, healers, sisters, mothers.
The fires were fueled with faggots. The faggots were sticks and wood, and the strangled bodies of homosexual men. It was a dangerous time to be different.
When I was 17, I realized that I couldn't keep this box closed any longer, and I realized that I had to start loving myself, because it got to the point where I was contemplating suicide.
So finally my parents said, enough is enough, you need help. So it's just like, it's kind of embarrassing at first, just for your parents to say that you need like psychiatric help. So it's just like, oh. But, so I went to a shrink and talked to her for a little while. She made the appointment for me to come for my intake here at the Triangle program. Triangle is a school where gay and lesbian students who have had like a lot of problems in different schools, like harassment, can come and be like really comfortable. Triangle really has had a huge impact on my self-esteem. When I started here, I had a lot of self-issues that I had with myself, and I didn't really think that I amounted to anything, and I didn't talk to anybody, and I was very isolated and stuff like that. But I got really comfortable with my surroundings, which I haven't been in a long time, like really comfortable with what's around me and who's around me. Then I started to get like a lot more comfortable with myself, and then I just opened up, and now I'm happy.
My mom just told me just to be yourself. So as I got older and more mature, I guess I just thought, well, I can't just be doing this, hating myself for my sexuality. So I just came out. Slowly but surely I did.
My dad, when he was 45, I guess, after 17 years of marriage, decided that that was enough, that he had been living something that wasn't really true. That
I carried the whole, I guess, secret till about near the middle of my 10th year, grade 10 year.
All of a sudden, it all came out at once. He left his job. He took a leave of absence from the church and didn't come back. He left the city. He went to Vancouver, and we were living in Victoria. And he left me and my mother, and he moved to downtown Vancouver and came out of the closet. So
when you come out of the closet, you don't say, "Hi, I'm a homosexual," because it sounds very clinical. You say, "I'm gay," and then by you saying that I'm gay, all of a sudden it's like this weight comes off your shoulders.
Gay. Old French, gay. In or showing a joyous, merry mood. Brightly colored.
It does mean happy, jovial, and that's what it does for you. Just sort of, yeah, I'm gay. Wow, cool.
I decided to start being completely in your face out. I would wear little buttons like the pink triangle or absolute lesbian or the rainbow, like I wore the rainbow beads on a necklace. People noticed, and I wanted them to notice. It was actually almost fun for me. Like it was my way of getting back at them for making me hate myself for all those years. I found myself at the LGBTQ meetings, and I made lots of friends almost immediately.
It's a meeting place. It's a place where people of all sort of differences, nationalities, sexual orientations, gender orientations can all go and just sort of be comfortable with who they are.
For the first time in a long time, I actually felt accepted and like I belonged. It was very nice. And it was the beginning of a process of finding out who I am and loving myself, which was very nice, like accepting myself and finding other people accepting me. It was a big change from Catholic school.
Well, okay, well then what do you think of the word lesbian? I like it because it's based on a myth, like a beautiful
Yeah.
story of
It's
this
based on a
wonderful
great
island where women lived in peace. I think it's a good story. Yeah, the poet, and she had like all these beautiful women, and they all got along and built like a utopian society. So.
Lesbian, Greek Lesbos, an island in the Aegean Sea. Home of Sappho, the most famous female poet of Greece. Slang, a woman loving another woman.
When she left me, she was weeping so bitterly and said to me, "Ah, what shall now become of us? Sappho, I leave against my will." Then I answered her and said, "Be happy as you go your way. Remember me and how I loved you. If you fail, then I'll recall what you forget, how gay a life we lived together and how lovely. How often you have plaited flowers, roses and violets sweet together to bind your hair when I was with you. And sitting on the couch beside me, you have feasted on fine dishes, and we have sipped sweet wine together. But she is gone, and though I bade her remember still our life of pleasure, here I lie, alone in sorrow."
I've heard Asian people say that homosexuality doesn't exist in our culture, and I know that that's not true because I'm an Asian lesbian.
A big thing for me has been learning to not let other people's assumptions influence me so much, because I'm a male. I consider myself to be a particular, pretty unique sort of male, in that people don't usually think I am one.
Gender identity, a person's internal feeling of being female, male, or both, or neither.
Gender identity is a different thing than sexual orientation, because gender identity is about who you see yourself as, and sexual orientation is about who you're attracted to. But the two are often seen as the same thing, or people just don't understand the difference. So then transgender is often also used to describe people who live in the gender that's not the one they were raised as, like people being born male and living as a female and vice versa. Coming out as transgender, it was really scary. Just because I think the level of understanding and the sheer numbers of people who have no idea what being transgender is.
Transgender. A person whose gender identity, physical appearance, or anatomy differs from society's expectation of only two genders.
And I had to even wait until I was 16 just to find out the word trans. Because I went to see this psychologist and he's looking at me going, "There's actually nothing wrong with you. You're depressed because you're transsexual. You're in the wrong body, aren't you?" Because at least I knew the word. And once you know the word, you can sort of glom onto it and start finding out information. But until the word's implanted into it, you just can't.
Yeah.
Our people our age, when they're growing up in high school, those names are damning to a youth. Names such as queer and faggot. And if we take back those names and we make them socially acceptable, it will benefit later generations.
Like, say another lesbian was to say to me, "You dyke," I would not get offended at all. Or say, like, someone who was my friend that knew I was gay and, they're all cool with it and we're just joking around and they say, "You dyke," it's just a laugh, haha. But if someone I didn't know, like some person just walked by me and go, "You dyke," I'd be really offended by that. So I think it's all who says it.
And
you know.
what context?
And yes,
Context.
yeah.
Words can be used to hurt people so badly, and words can also be used so that people can identify themselves and let other people know who they are. And that can be very powerful in a positive way by claiming these words and saying this is who we are and being proud of it.
Within the lesbian community, dyke is a really positive term, and I like it a lot.
We use the word dyke all the time. We've completely desensitized it.
Like really strong woman, someone who's proud.
Yeah, I just think of women who love other women, and it makes me think of my friends.
Queer means unusual.
I have blacklisted the word queer from my vocabulary because I don't feel that I am queer.
Aberrant, deviant.
Like anything you want to be, anything not straight, anything not normal or whatever, right? So, that's me.
Crazy, unusual.
That means that you're different, and I'm not different. I'm just gay. Same as everybody else, but I'm gay.
I guess I'm gay, but I'd rather define as queer because there's more room in queer for just different identities, because gay sounds kind of archaic and really gay,
Well, my cousin told me that a woman and a man's spirit, she said that's what you are, Lindsay. And I didn't really know. Like, I've heard of two-spirited, but I didn't know what two-spirited was, right?
Two-spirited. A person possessing qualities of both female and male, creating multiple genders with honored cultural roles.
I think when the white man came, it just kind of changed the way the Indians used to think, but they say, oh, our culture is bad, it's evil,
There were cultures that accepted that there were more than two genders, and that the people in the community just accepted that, and that it was seen as a very special and great thing.
I would have grown up thinking it was a good thing, not bad, not having low self-esteem, I need someone to talk to me and tell me it's a gift and you're lucky, and, to make, someone to make me really understand, like an elder.
Even though the world makes it a really hard place and time to be transgender, it's worth it. It's worth it to be true to yourself and who you are, and just the richness and the freedom in your mind that comes from being who you really are and not letting society dictate who you should see yourself as far as gender is amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
Now I know that that's what being gay is all about. It's just about loving people. And I don't see how there could be anything morally wrong with that.
The best thing about being gay is an impeccable fashion sense, an incredible smile, and I think just sort of, I don't know, just the sense of being part of something big.
Words, it's what our life is made up of. Language is what makes us human, and so anything anybody says has extremely powerful influence.